Coming up next, I'm giving y'all a crazy story about an inmate who thought he was unstoppable. Stay tuned. Hit that like button. Y'all know the vibes.
It's JS Corner from the prison story massacres. I be telling stories about the pushers and the traffickers, trying to keep the YNs away from the bandits. Don't eat the honey bun, don't drink the coke, don't become another victim or the butt of a joke. Don't close both eyes when you sleep or get choked. When you go to the mess hall, sit with your team, cause if you sit with some punk boy, you can get seen, then you can get dealt with. Prison justice like you never felt it. I be taking y'all back to stories of the helpless. That lava I spit, get your boy stories melted. I spit about prison justice cause I dealt it. And you a real hater if you can't respect it. All that bullshit, yeah, I'm here to check that. Any confrontation, I'ma show up. Bet that. You a real hater, I'm here to address that. When it comes to storytelling, I'm the best at.
What was that, man? What was that? He got a weapon, man. He got a weapon. Get him. My ribs, bro. What up? We are back. Who am I? Jersey Street Corner, and this is the Prison Talk Show, people. So let's get into it. Now, this story I got for y'all today, this is gonna take us back to the Prison Street Fight Club. You heard me. Back in the day, y'all, I told y'all before, if you saw the video, there was an officer that would let us rock. So, if we had beef, if we just, guys was fighting over commissary, keep it 100. Now, this officer would let us have the day room and set it up. And pretty much, we make our makeshift gloves, wrap our knuckles up so nobody hands get damaged and go at it. Now, I've had a few prison fights, for commissary. I've won a few. I've lost a few. Fair exchange. Sometimes you do it over beef. Sometimes you do it just for fun. Now, when I say commissary, I mean there's commissary on the line for the winner, of course. And then there's people betting commissary on you. So now that's where it gets crazy, because now if somebody loses their money because they bet on you, yeah, that was their fault. They bet on you. But now they looking at you like, man, I lost all this commissary because of you. We got to fight now. We got to fight. And that's how the Prison Fight Club continued. But we're not here to talk about me or my fighting history. Today's story, y'all, is going to be about a guy named Lucky Left. And we'll get a little further into the story and explain why they called him Lucky Left. But let's just say the guy had a knack for knocking people out. Now, as the prison rules would state, at this time, when this CO is letting us get our aggression out by fighting this way, we had to do him a big favor and keep things on the low. Meaning, if it was beef, you wasn't supposed to act right away. You were supposed to wait, even if it was a day or two until that officer was on shift, and you set it up in the ring the right way. That way, the money keeps flowing. Unauthorized fights means somebody just goes to lockdown and somebody gets hurt and nobody gets paid off of it. That's a waste. I mean, don't y'all think so? We talking big commissary here. So, every other night, let's say, it'd be inmates going against inmates, different gangs, rivalries, and it'd be big guys, little guys going at it. And of course, there's always a loser, because the rules are, well, pretty much, there are no rules. Well, no, I'm not going to say there's no rules. There was not supposed to be no weapons used, and nobody was supposed to jump in. Win, lose, or draw. If your homeboy is getting beat down, you're supposed to just stand there and watch. He knew what he was getting into. And sometimes he didn't know what he was getting into, but he knew that he was willing to fight for commissary, because most of the time, let's say there is a champion, to say a reigning champion. Whoever is coming up to fight don't have to announce nothing. They don't have to, put a bid in or nothing. If he's the reigning champion, it could be 10 minutes before the fight. The biggest dude in the prison could walk up and say, I got next. And now you got to show everybody why you the champion. If this dude knock you out, now he's the champion. And if you want that belt back, well, get back in that ring. Most of the time when dudes got knocked out, either they didn't fight again out of shame, or they started back with lower opponents that they knew they could beat or at least stand up to. But the further the ranks you go, you're going to encounter some monsters. Mind you, there's people in here that are 350 pounds, 250 pounds. There's some big guys in here that could pick you up and toss you halfway across a room. It's guys on all types of drugs like meth. They doing lines of that white. It's guys on steroids up in here, y'all. It's people doing all types of things to alter their bodies and their strength in prison just to survive. Now, you got guys in there that lift weights for a hobby. They just like getting buff. They don't like fighting. They just like looking big and mean and scary. Then you got the ones that really do like fighting. And those are the ones you got to worry about. The ones that will get in that ring with the main intention of breaking your jaw. And he ain't even got to do all that. But he wants to send a message to anybody else that might be thinking about getting in that ring with him. Oh, you better think twice, because he going to rearrange your dental work. That's what some of these goons was on. And I watched these brutal matches happen every other night. And it was very entertaining, but again, very brutal. Let alone for the fact that once you got beat down, you were stuck in your cell until you heal. Hopefully you got commissary or your people that you deal with in the pod to bring you food, because you could not leave the pod and go to mess hall. You had to stay out of administration's face. At that point, you got a busted lip or a black eye, or you walk around limping because your ribs hurt, or any ailment that isn't normal. You will get locked up and do serious time in the hole. So you don't want to get your ass whooped and then go to lockup, so you're going to sit there on the bunk. That's what they call it, ride the bunk. You're going to ride the bunk for about a month. About a good 3 weeks to a month till you heal up, and then you straight again. Now, and mind you, it was a lot of guys riding the bunk. And that's one freedom that we did have. We didn't have to go to mess hall. As long as you had a record of order and commissary, and they knew that you was eating, you weren't wasting away, they weren't going to say nothing to you. But, most inmates would break that cycle, like on a Sunday or holiday, they give you the chicken or the hamburgers. You go to mess hall for that. And occasionally some of the breakfasts be alright. But that coffee was trash. It's like they used dirt, ground dirt, and water to make the coffee with. Disgusting. Ain't nobody get up for that. You order that Folgers. Now at the present time, the pod champion is Ruthless Rudy. I told the story about Rudy a long time ago. Y'all should go check it out. Now, the way the rules are set, the champion does not have to accept your fight. So there's ranks. You go through the lower opponents, and the ones that keep fighting, whether they get knocked out, come back, whatever happens, you go through all the ranks before you get to the champion. Now, not saying you can't challenge the champion. You could get up one day and just be feeling yourself and say, you know what? I'm a challenge the champion. Now, if you want to play yourself, that's up to you. That guy's a champion for a reason. He's already knocked out most of the competition that you need to try and knock out before even thinking that you got a chance at him. But if you want to play the tough guy, that's on you. Now, most of the time, the champion's not going to risk his championship because he doesn't know whether or not, you know, the guy really can knock him out or not. And he don't want to find out, at least not that way. So most of the time, he going to make you go through those fights to see if you get anywhere close to him before quitting. Now, if he got to fight you, then it is what it is. That's the rules. He got to fight. He could back down and give up the commissary and his title, but then he gonna be labeled as a punk, and they probably won't let him fight no more on some sore loser type shit. Now, every Wednesday we get these new inmates in. Excuse me, y'all. And I told you it's a big deal in the prison. Because you got to know who's coming in there. You got to know if you got to watch your back. You got to know if it's one of your homies, one of your family members, whatever. You need to be on that gate and be a part of what's going on over there. We see a guy come through the pod, y'all. This guy was every bit of 6'3", maybe even 6'4". Just rough estimate, I'd say this guy was at least 200 and maybe 70 pounds, something like that. I don't want to go too heavy, too light, but anyway. And he had a real athletic build to him. Like he had been doing some kind of sports activities before he got locked up. Now, right away, everybody already thinking, I wonder if that dude could fight. I wonder if he could fight. Can he fight? Man, look. If he in prison and he that big and he can't fight, is a problem. You know he could fight. You look at him, look at his face. He got war wounds on him. Let alone the tattoos all over his face, his hands, his arms. He just looked like a big monster. Somebody you ain't want no smoke with. I mean, dude looked like he'd be lifting weights, all that. Now, a lot of the smaller inmates in there sitting there straight up like, you know what? I'm done. I'm not fighting no more. If I got to fight him, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to choose to fight him. Nah, I'm not going to go and lose my money. Nah, I'm good. I'm good. And a lot of people start backing out of the fights. Ended up being strictly for beef and not for recreation. And recreation is what made the money. So the CO, you know, he was a little pissed off at that because he made money off of it too. Everybody had to pay him something off a certain percentage of the winnings. Now, he like, alright, this dude up in the cell, everybody shook, don't nobody want to fight. So we're going to have to stir things up. You know what I mean? We're going to have to stir things up a little bit, get it popping. CO, he start bringing other inmates from other pods over late night to our pod for these fights. And that was definitely not supposed to happen because now it's getting out into the prison more. You know, the rumors spread and it's supposed to stay in our pod. This was our thing. Now, being that he's not making as much money as he was, he's branching out. So he bring inmates like the Punisher over there and all these cats, these big dudes. And he want to see some bloody battles. He want to fight. He want them tickets. So, long story short, y'all, the new inmates start making some noise. They in there fighting. They beating people the hell up. Now, all these other inmates tapping out. They're like, I'm done. Where y'all get these dudes from? Nah, man. Nah, I ain't fighting the Punisher, man. I heard about him. I ain't fighting the Punisher. He gonna do something to you if he knock you out. Nah. And the Punisher like laughing and smirking, talking about, nah, I'm just here to fight, man. I'm just here to fight. I'm just here to fight. Because, I guess the commissary bag was kind of big. So, before you know it, the new dude, he's right there on the sideline watching all of this stuff. And he hear Punisher talk about he want to fight. So, big dude just walked right up into the center and said, I'll fight you. I'll fight you. Now, Punisher looking at him, and he not backing down, but he looking at him like, oh, this dude might be some trouble. He just as big as the Punisher. And now, Punisher, he ain't talking no more. He ain't talking all that talk no more. He got his hands up, but he ain't talking all that talk. So, dude asks him, like, alright, so state your name, gangster. Who are you? Who are you? Where you repping? Dude was like, they call me Lucky Left, and that's all you need to know. Don't worry about where I'm from. Worry about where I'm at. Right here, right now, in his face. And with that, dude says, say no more. On the count of 3, y'all know the rules. There'll be no headlocks, no pushing, no shoving, only punching. This ain't a wrestling match. Keep this clean, and let's go. Touch gloves and come out fighting. Well, let me tell you, y'all, that was one of the shortest fights I ever seen in my life. This dude, he hit the Punisher so hard with a left. It was almost like you could see the velocity in the air when the Punisher's face was shaking, and it looked like glass shattering. And he just went down. Easy. I mean, this was less than 50 seconds. He caught him with that left. And I guess that's why they call him Lucky Left. But it's something about that left hand that seemed a little off. Like, how do left hand so strong? You just dropped the Punisher. You know the mayhem he's created in this prison, and you just knocked him out with one punch? Nah, dude. Nah. So, he have a few more fights. And mind you, Ruthless Rudy, he's paying attention. He's paying attention to him. He's watching. And he like, I want to see him fight a few more fights first. I don't want to fight him yet. I want to see what he got. I want to see what else he got. Now, this dude, man, Lucky Left, he would fight dirty, y'all. When people wasn't realizing it, when they was hugged up, he'd be headbutting. Side headbutting. Bang! Bang! Sneaking them in. Right above the eye, swell that eye up. Then he'd push off. Boom! Hit him with a right. Catch him right in that same eye he just hit him with in the head. Then he hit him with the left. Next thing you know it, he done knocked somebody else out. And another one. And another one. Now this man is about 5 fights in. His commissary stack is stacking up. And Ruthless Rudy, well, he has no choice. He has to accept the battle. And this is for the big one, y'all. This is for all the commissary. And I'm not going to drag this out, y'all. But he beat Ruthless Rudy's ass. That's right, y'all. Ruthless Rudy, the big bad street fighter. The one that been knocking everybody out since back in the day. Got his ass whooped in that ring. And now, he didn't all the way knock Rudy out. So, Rudy on the ground, trembling. He on there talking about some, yo, he got a weapon. He got a weapon, man. He got something, man. Nah, that ain't fair. He got something. And they think, Rudy done been hitting the head too many times or something. Maybe he delirious or whatever. And come to find out, y'all, because now this was starting to affect the CO's money. This guy, Lucky Left, couldn't be handled. He thought he was invincible. He wasn't going to work for the CO He wanted to make his own bread. So obviously he was messing up all of the CO's bread. He wasn't winning none of his bets because Lucky Left was knocking him out the box. Come to find out, y'all, this Inmate, which I've never heard of this being allowed, but I guess what are they gonna do, right? Kanye West got, can't get on an airplane because of the plate in his mouth. Well, Lucky Left had a whole metal plate in his hand. Right in his hand, y'all. Also, he had a metal plate in his forehead. He had been in a serious accident where pretty much he got thrown out of a vehicle and ended up having to get a surgery to save his life. And it resulted in him getting a metal plate in his head and his hand. And I think he might have had one in his back also. So when they went through the metal detector with this man, it always went off. And all the inmates knew it. Everybody knew it. He was just so new to the pod that this CO didn't know yet because he was on night shift. But had he had known, he would have excluded this guy from the fight automatically because, yeah, technically, he did have a weapon in his hand. That's why they call him Lucky Left. Because he'll hit you with that Lucky Left and his lights out. You're talking about pure metal. Think about Wolverine smacking you with that animanium. Well, yeah, you get it. Listen, if you like stories like this, like, share, and subscribe. Stay out the prison systems, y'all. You don't know what kind of mayhem goes on. And you don't want to find out. With that, y'all, I'm going to get on up out of here. I hope you like this story. Hype the video and hit that like button. This is the Jersey Street Corner Prison Talk Show. I am your boy, Jersey Street Corner, and I'm out.
You a real hater, I'm here to address that. When it comes to storytelling, I'm the best at.